thirds have a very distinct style, sound, flavor. I love playing thirds. So I'm going to talk about playing thirds on the guitar. This is an intro lesson. This is what I call Guitar Essentials, a part of my Guitar Essentials series on Patreon. This lesson is created in response to a lot of my Patreon members, Diamond Tier members, just often asking me, what do I practice? What should I be practicing besides playing songs? I always say, learn songs, practice your chords, practice your scales, practice your arpeggios. Lately, I did a study on sixes on the guitar, and then thirds is equally as important as sixes and just as common. We all are familiar with sixes, which is the sound. We love that sound. So thirds sound like this. It's very pretty. It's great for playing melodies. I'm going to talk about how to practice it and how you can apply it so you're making music using thirds. Type in the chat where you are, who you are. Yeah, don't forget to do this if you are enjoying these live stream lessons. I really appreciate you tuning in and supporting this channel and supporting me on Patreon, of course, my online music community, which I know many of you are on Patreon. There's a free tier and there's the paid tiers where you can get access to all of my tabs and PDFs and then the bonus videos as well. Terry, great to see you. And the good thing is I'm getting to know all of you. As soon as I see that your icon pop up, I know who you are. And I know it's not, depending on your time zone, it's not necessarily, I'll say friendly for you to watch it on the live stream. So if you're watching this on the replay, great to see you. Great to hear you, John. Welcome back. All right. So yeah, thirds are really beautiful. I'm just going to kind of just talk here for a second about thirds, the theory behind it. So basically, if you take a G major, and keep typing in the chat, you guys. If you take a G major scale, if you go every other note, that would be a third interval. So you can play thirds like that. And I wrote a riff recently on Patreon where I was demonstrating that kind of sound, a little cascading thirds. But what I'm talking about today primarily is playing them as a dyad, two notes together. Double stop is another term, like this. Minor. It's very, very pretty. I just love it. It's so melodic. It's just part of a three-note chord, essentially, a triad. But a dyad, a two-note version of a triad, right, is just two notes, and it's a little bit more ambiguous because we don't know if it's made, we don't know exactly which triad it's from or which chord it's implying because there's not a complete triad. And that's the beauty of some playing these, I think, is the ambiguity of it. I have an arrangement for the beautiful song If I Had You, like this. Beautiful old song, and I play it with thirds like this. And then, of course, I mix and match some of the qualities, but I love thirds. You can play melody. Here's Besame Mucho. When you play with thirds, harmonize, you get this. Again, it has a really beautiful quality to it that I love. So I demonstrated that with sixes the other day as well. So the tune Breezin', made famous by, of course, George Benson. Again, just that sound of the thirds, it's so iconic on the guitar, and I hope you explore this lesson today that I'm going to go through with you. So again, I think music theory-wise, it's important to understand intervals, the naming of the intervals, and I'm going to do a special, I have lessons in the past on this, but I'm going to keep offering these live streams because I know that for many of you, it's nice to tune in live and just to do it on the spot versus going back to the replay. So again, you have your major scale, and then we can harmonize it in thirds. So instead of doing this, we could do this. We're harmonizing the scale in thirds. Okay. We could go along the length of the string, which I often like to do. And that could be an E minor chord. Again, it's kind of ambiguous. It could also be a C chord. So again, thirds are really cool because it could be a little slightly ambiguous. Mad Musician, howdy. Howdy to you. I don't think I've met you yet, so thanks for joining in, Mad Musician. Thierry, welcome. I know you on Patreon, of course. Thanks for tuning in today. Sorry if I'm looking a little bit rugged. It's a Sunday morning here for me, an easy Sunday morning. Easy like Sunday morning, right? All right, so let's get back to work here. I know you guys are wanting some good info from me, not just to chat. So here is, I'm just going to demonstrate. I like to play, as I mentioned, thirds often on the length of the string. That's how I like to show it too. Besides just going like this, going vertically across, I go horizontally like this often. So here's a G, open G. Do, re, mi, fa. Remember, mi, fa, 3/4 is half step. T, do, that's where your half step is. 3 and 4 and 7 and 8. So here's a G major scale in one string. If you just want to do this with me, make sure you can visualize that major scale. So here it is harmonized with thirds. I have G and B. This is staying diatonic to G. So the term diatonic just means to the key. I'm staying in the key. So G and B, that's 0, 0. And I'll pop up this. By the way, grab the free PDF in the description. I've got a lot of these examples here for you. Not all 12. And there's many more, especially when you can 12 keys, but there's many more when you start to consider the different string pairs, you can do them. But again, you're going to want to practice it on adjacent pairs. You can also do it like this. Oh no, that's sixes. Sorry, got confused with my other lesson there. But yeah, thirds are generally going to be played on adjacent strings versus sixes. By the way, a six is just the inverted third. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean. G to B like this, G to B, and you're usually thinking going up above when I say G to B. B to G, that's a 6. Same 2 notes, but it's a different interval quality, right? So listen to this and this. Same 2 notes. One of the first was the 6s. These are thirds. I mean, that's a cool trick right there, just to get some variation, okay? But I'm just going to show you right now thirds going along the length of the string, 1 octave G major scale. Make sure you can do the major scale first. And then, modes, on that worksheet, I do show a few modes, the Dorian mode and the Aeolian mode. You can play all 7 modes. Remember the Greek modes. Remember that the modes are just different starting points of the major scale. So definitely spend your time right now mastering the major scale. And this is super fun and creative, great on a Sunday morning. Put some reverb on, put some chorus if you want to. Now here it is with thirds. Isn't that sweet? I like to take it in little installments, and I like to improvise and noodle around a little bit. By the way, this is C major, D major. If you're thinking chords, E minor, F sharp diminished, and then G major. I had to think about that F sharp dim. And then going backwards, got the half diminished there, and then minor, major, major, minor, B minor, A minor, and G major. So with thirds, we have this. And it might be a good time just to put on, You can put a drone. Actually, I just your open string. Here's E. And so if I played, here's some theory. If I played an open E note in my drone string, my E, and I'm playing G major scale, what mode is that really kind of creating? Can anyone type in the chat what they think? What mode would that be creating? I'll give you a demo. Here's E. You can do. The answer is E Aeolian, the natural minor, because of the power of that drone. But I'm just going to strum a little bit of chords. Pretty common progression, if you ask me. Probably could be a hit song. Thirds. Oh, and that was called whoa, the pedal doesn't stop. That was called a clam. Actually, as a jazz player, I could say, yeah, I hit the sharp 11. There's always a way to justify these clams. Oh, sharp 11, man, that's some hip stuff he was doing there. Anyways, that's just some Sunday morning noodling using thirds. But let's go to that PDF so we can practice this together. And that was just a kind of a folk rock style chord progression, you know. Again, you could play this on jazz. You could play some arpeggios if you want to. Really pretty. There's a jazz guitar player named Barney Kessel who used it quite extensively. So let's take a look here. I hope this is opening up some new ideas for you and is getting you interested in thirds and noodling around and really learning the fretboard. So if you look at number 1 here, C major scale in thirds, the C major is the C note, the root is here. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So I'm going to play just that first. And then when I harmonize it with a third above, diatonic, that means staying in the key of C in this case, you'd have this. Play along with me. And then descending. Okay, that's the C major scale. Okay, and we could do a nice little vamp. I love vamping on my loop pedal. So we have a C major. Whoa. Wait, no, that's not. That's my loop pedal has a mind of its own. Let me clear my other vamp. I always say this in my looping class. Make sure you always step in on your pedal to clear it while you're talking so that it doesn't play your previous loop. And I just did it. Lucky I'm not on a gig. All right, so let's do this. Okay, so now we can play the C major scale in thirds. Ready? Nice and slowly. Let's do whole notes. Switch. Keep going. It's diatonic, so we're in the key. It's gonna sound good. can kind of put some rhythm to it. And maybe even do it on the next ring, you know what I mean? So you can have a lot of fun. There I was just improvising some melodies with thirds with some rhythm, just only on that scale, just for fun, okay? That's the idea of that. So let me go back to the chat, say hello to Yuri. Welcome. You're a Trekkie, I take it. Welcome, everybody. Cheers, Sunday morning guitar essentials. Kind of a slightly cloudy day here in Portland, but it's a beautiful day. It's sunny, can't complain. It's not raining, right? So thirds again. Let's give it an A minor. I'm going to change my feel. C major is equivalent to A minor, so I'm just going to kind of do a little vamp on A minor. Oh, maybe this song. You know this song? What does it sound like to anybody? Thirds. Okay, I'm going to do fourths too, but we can mix. Or down here. Anyways, I was just kind of taking the progression to while my guitar gently weeps. Carl, welcome. Good to see you. You can take anything. I'm trying to think of some other great examples besides Breezin. I showed you Besame Mucho. Oh, you're gonna love this. If you're a loop pedal player, a looper, you can do your scales too. This is kind of fun. This is something a little bit different, but it's still thirds, right? So if you take your G scale, I'll do this. You just. So all I was doing there is just taking the scale and going up a third, and you hear a harmony of a third. It's not exactly what I was demonstrating, doing this, because that's pretty hard to do fast. So if you have a loop pedal, one part could be the scale, loop it. You can do some fun stuff like that with your loop pedal. I like to do that often on my gigs, just kind of do a quick loop and then do an overdub a third higher, especially if it's something a little bit more complex. But in general, these thirds, just really, really pretty. Just, I would say, really experiment. So let's take the beginning. Here's another example I played at the beginning of the lesson, Blue Monk by Thelonious Monk. I like that motif quite a bit. It's just kind of this blues phrase on B flat. We're going, and then on the E flat, the 4 chord, same motif. So you have 3 to the 5 chromatic. In this case, when we add the chromatic, I'm starting like this, and then this, and then this. And this, I kind of realized, I should probably talk about the 2 different types of thirds. There's 2 types of thirds. There's a major third and a minor third. If I show you from the scale here, let me show it to you from B flat. Why not? So from B flat to D That's a major third, 2 whole steps. B flat to D flat would be a minor third interval. So you do want to make sure that you can know where a major third is and a minor third. You want to flat it. Always start with the major third, okay? So if this is a major third here, guitars, the third and the second string are tuned in a major third interval. But everything else is tuned in a perfect fourth, okay? This is guitar 101 here as far as understanding how the guitar is tuned in standard tuning. You have a perfect fourth, perfect fourth, perfect fourth, major third, and then a perfect fourth again, okay? So like right here when I did this little bar, B flat and D, that's a major third. This interval is a minor third. Those are minor thirds. This is major third. This is minor third. Kind of hear the major to minor quality if you think about it. Major, minor. So there's 2 types of thirds: major thirds and minor thirds. And you want to understand and know how formulas, for your triads are created: major, minor, diminished. Diminished consists of 2 minor thirds: minor third, minor third. In these runs, that's all minor thirds. Augmented are major thirds, an augmented chord. So when you have an augmented chord like this, for example, like from the whole tone scale, that's all major third. So that's another good example. Stevie Wonder's "You're the Sunshine of My Life," that intro, he uses that whole tone scale. And I'm going to do there's a good live stream on whole tone scale that I did a few months ago, maybe 6 months ago, if you want to search for it. And there's PDFs and stuff on Patreon too. But the whole tone scale is a really great scale for use for improvisation and understanding the fretboard better, especially with augmented. But this is a little bit more basic today, just playing with thirds. So do that little blues riff. And then transpose it to the 4 chord on E flat. Then here it is as a diminished. You just slide those minor thirds around. It's so easy. But again, with this really nice and bluesy on the B flat here, check it out. I'll do it so you can play along with me here on the chords. 3, 4. This is a B flat blues. This is Blue Monk, basically, by Thelonious Monk. Really basic blues. Da-da-da-dee-dum. Ba-da-bum-ba-bum-ba-bum-ba-bum. Ready? Here we go. And then riff in thirds. Riff. You do thirds. Up high. Maybe thirds. So experiment with that on your favorite melodies. Even if it's just a little bit of a phrase on thirds, it really does add quite a bit to it. So, hey, I hope you enjoyed today's live stream lesson. Thanks for your time hanging out with me. Good jamming. Good seeing you all. We'll be seeing you later this week. I think I'll cover some of the whole tone scale. I'm pretty excited to had some great private lessons. Oh, hey, you're welcome, man, magician. Whole tone scale, some soloing ideas. Just to kind of give you a preview about this whole tone scale is this scale. You can do it like this too. It has this really dreamy sound. And I love working with my private students on how to practice. Usually I say, let's practice pentatonics and then whole tone and just navigate back and forth, just like we're doing this with chords. And then I'll show you a quick example here before we log off so we can get into this. Dave, welcome. Hold on. Pentatonic. Whole tone. Pentatonic. Whole tone. Pentatonic. Whole tone. Pentatonic. That was whole tone. Pentatonic, whole tone. So all I'm doing kind of is navigating pentatonic, C major, G whole tone. And you can do this is usually the fingering. I show this little zigzag fingering. So it's really a fun technique, and I've been demonstrating that with some private students a lot lately. Kind of swing, gypsy jazz, bossa nova, just jazz is soloing in general. You might not be using the whole tone that much in pop music, but hey, Stevie Wonder snuck it in, and you are the sunshine of my life. So, it's not a bad thing to get down. Dave, welcome. We've got to see you for your diamonds here lessons sometime soon coming up here. Everyone else, have a great day too. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.